right, everyone. Hello and welcome. Welcome. My name is Ezra Shaban. I have the privilege of serving as president of the Board of Trustees for Santa Rosa Junior College. Welcome to a very special inaugural President's Address to the community from Superintendent President Dr. Angelica Garcia, following her first year at SRJC. We'll start with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we gather at Santa Rosa Junior College on the territorial traditional land of the Pomo people in Santa Rosa and the Coast Miwok people in Petaluma, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it through the generations. It's a real privilege to kick off Dr. Garcia's first annual address to the community, and I know it's the first of many, many more to come. Just over a year ago, Dr. Garcia assumed the role as our sixth president in SRJC's 106-year history, and the board could not be more pleased at the leadership, creativity, passion, and efficacy that she brings to the job every single day. She leads by example and is laser-focused on building on our college's legacy as an agent for transforming the lives of our students and supporting our Sonoma County community, and at the same time fostering inclusion and embracing diversity. Dr. Garcia brings an incredible lived experience, education, and professional track record that informs her commitment to IDEA principles to make sure that SRJC is the best place to learn and work. As I meet with trustees from the 72 other community college districts around the state, they all recognize that we scored big in landing Dr. Garcia here. I'd like to thank my colleagues on the Board of Trustees, Mariana Martinez, Michael Valdivinos, Maggie Fishman, Dorothy Battenfeld, Caroline Banuelos, and Terry Lindley for their perspective and collaboration. I'd like to especially thank Terry Lindley, who served on our board for 3 decades, as well as, as well as Trustee Banuelos, who is finishing her term on the board. Both of them are retiring at the end of the year, and you couldn't ask for any better colleagues. We have a board that brings different ideas, focuses, and life experiences, but we're united in our commitment to advancing opportunity, equity, and economic mobility. One of the greatest pleasures of serving on the board is hearing stories of how SRJC has transformed people's lives. I am blown away at the stories I hear constantly from people out in the community, from recent graduates to nonagenarians. And I'd venture that everyone in this room and everyone in the Sonoma County community has their SRJC story of how it impacted them, how it impacted one of their loved ones or many of their loved ones in their life trajectory. It underscores that this place is special and how precious our mission is. We need to constantly grow and adapt to meet our needs and support our students. And Dr. Garcia has been doing just that over the last year. She's been working to advance the board's goals to grow enrollment and retention, advance student success and completion, build the safe and supportive culture that students and staff deserve, to meet the education and workforce needs of our community, and ultimately to help our students achieve their goals and dreams. We've made progress this year, and I know we'll make much more in the years to come. None of this would be possible without the incredible staff and faculty who come to work every single day to make a difference. Please join me in giving a round of applause to the district's employees. Thank you. You're truly the backbone of this college, and we couldn't do it without you. Now, workforce development is a critical piece of what we do here at the college, but higher education is about much more. Harry Truman has a quote that I've been thinking about more and more, given the times that we live in. He said, "Without a strong educational system, democracy is crippled. Knowledge is not only key to power, it is the citadel of human freedom." Well, every single one of you here in this room, from all across our community, alumni, students, foundation board members, civic and business leaders, You're a partner in upholding and advancing this citadel in our small slice of the world. And our board and college community is so incredibly grateful. So thank you very much, and I'd like to give you a round of applause for all that you do for our college. And now to set the tone for today's address, please join me in welcoming our guest singer, Rada Romero, who graduated from the SRJC music program with highest honors this May. Rada will sing Defying Gravity from Wicked. This song was selected by Dr. Garcia to express themes of empowerment, self-discovery, transformation, and change for a brighter future. Thank you all.
Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts, close my eyes, and believe. It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll try defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. I'm through accepting limits, 'cause someone says they're so. Some things I cannot change, but till I try, I'll never know. Too long I've been afraid of losing love. I guess I've lost. Well, if that's love, it comes at much too high a cost. I'd sooner buy defying gravity. Kiss me goodbye, defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. Unlimited, my future is unlimited, and I've just had a vision almost like a prophecy. I know it sounds truly crazy, and true, the vision's hazy, but I swear someday I'll be up in the sky, defying gravity, flying so high, defying gravity, they'll never pull me down. So if you care to find me, look to the western sky. As someone told me lately, everyone deserves the chance to fly. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. To those who ground me, take a message back from me. Tell them how I'm defying gravity, flying so high, defying gravity, and soon I'll match them in renown. And nobody in all of us, no wizard that there is or was, is ever gonna bring me down. Whoa.
Thank you, Radha. That was beautiful. And sincere best wishes to you as you continue your career. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jay Molyneux, and I am the Executive Director of the Santa Rosa Junior College Foundation. Welcome to Dr. Angelica Garcia's inaugural President's Address to the community. We're very happy that you could be with us here today. We have a great representation today from our elected officials. United States Representative Mike Thompson is with us. Welcome, Congressman Thompson. Logan Pitts is here from State Senator Bill Dodd's office. We have Sonoma County Supervisors Chris Corsi and David Rabid, and Keith Roberts is with the James Gore's office. From the Rohnert Park City Council, we have Mayor Susan Adams, Vice Mayor Gerard Gudici, Jackie Elward, and Samantha Rodriguez. From the Santa Rosa City Council, we have Mayor Natalie Rogers, Vice Mayor Mark Stapp, Eddie Alvarez, and Jeff Krupke. We have Amy Carter, who's our Sonoma County Superintendent of Schools, as well as Omar Medina, Santa Rosa City Schools trustee. I would also like to acknowledge all of the Santa Rosa Junior College Board of Trustees, our board president, Ezra Shaban, who you just heard from, our vice president, Michael Valdivinos, Dorothy Battenfeld, Caroline Buñuelos, Maggie Fishman, Terry Lindley, Mariana Martinez, and our student trustee, Anthony Spinozzi. We have some former trustees here with us today as well. Rick Cole, Jeff Cundy, and Don Zumwalt, welcome. And of course, we have our Superintendent President Emeritus, Dr. Frank Chong. A very special welcome to their Doyle trustees, Jim Ryan and Bill Schrader. And from the SRJC Foundation Board, we have Scott Bartley, Maggie Fishman, Doug Garrison, Ozzie Jimenez Solberg, Kate Jolly, Brian Reeves, Carolina Spence, Shirley Ward, and of course, Dr. Angelica Garcia. Wait, there's more. We also have 7 elected members of our very own student government. President Ruben Garcia, Ann Donnelly, Connor Murphy, Tiffany Wynn, Andrew Sima-Laichan, Catherine Vadoya, and Anthony Spinozzi. If I've missed anyone, I'm terribly sorry, but we are sincerely grateful for everything that you do for our students and this community. So Dr. Garcia, thank you for an incredible first year. Your unequivocal commitment to centering students in everything that we do has inspired our work. Working together, last year, the SRJC Foundation raised $10.7 million for scholarships and programs. And we awarded $6.2 million in scholarships to students, which is a record for this institution. The Doyle Scholarship, the Doyle Trust and Scholarship continues to play a major role in student success here, as well as an additional 670 scholarships created by our very generous donor community. So we have 40 sponsors for today's event that allowed us to bring you all together, and we're grateful for the incredible enthusiasm from all of you. But a very special thank you to our good friends at Exchange Bank for being the presenting sponsor today. The Exchange Bank has played a pivotal role in this event through time, and we're extremely grateful for that. But everyone in this room plays a role in the success of this institution. We're grateful to all of you for being a part of our community. So now, before I segue into the presentation of the President's Medallion, I would like to acknowledge some of the past recipients who are with us today. We have Lori Beard, Connie Cotting, the Dutton family, Herb Dwight, Exchange Bank, Gayla Barron, Terry Lindley, and Jean Schultz. Thank you for the lifelong opportunities you have provided to SRJC students through the years. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to a very special guest who will kick off the presentation of the President's Medallion to Superintendent President Emeritus Dr. Frank Chong. Our dear friend, Dr. Pedro Avila, is with us from Gavilan College, where he has been president since 2022. Formerly, Dr. Avila was SRJC's Vice President of Student Services from 2017 to 2022. He has been in the community college system since 2003. Dr. Avila, thank you for being with us today. It's really great to see you again.
Hey, good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Yeah, buenas tardes. It feels great to be back. It feels like I've never left. I always like to come back and reminisce on the past. We had a really good experience here at SRJC. And it's just really special and an honor for me to be part of this special moment honoring President Emeritus Dr. Frank Chong. When he called me to ask me to do his introduction, I told him that it would be my honor, but then I asked him if I was okay to roast him. And this is how he responded. He said, yeah, you could do whatever, you can say whatever you want, but don't forget that I'm gonna have the mic last. So if you know Frank, that is his indirect way of saying no, don't roast me. So yeah, there's not gonna be no roasting in my speech. I met Frank 8 years ago when I applied and was appointed vice president here at the JC. In fact, I was the first vice president that he hired under his tenure. And naturally, we became very close. He became a role model to me. He was like a big brother, uncle maybe. But I quickly realized that he was sort of like a celebrity here in town. Everywhere we went, people wanted to stop and talk to him. Very approachable, never took himself very seriously. And we all know he has a great sense of humor, right? He would always crack me up because, his favorite way of introducing himself, he would tell people that he would say, I'm an ABC from NYC, which means I'm an American-born Chinese from New York City. But Frank always had the right thing to say. But prior to working for Dr. Chong, I've had the opportunity to work for many presidents, directly for presidents and chancellors across the state, but I had never met anyone like Frank. He just really had a way to connect with people. And honestly, I learned a lot from him, and that helped me develop and become the person that I am, the professional that I am today. I always admired his authentic conversations with everyone. He could be talking to one of our employees at any level, or students, where they loved him. They always would approach him, and the community would, the community just loved Frank. He was truly a community president, but he always made time and cared about everyone around him. And I think that's one of his greatest attributes. And perhaps that is why he was such a successful president here at SRJC. In 2017, my first year as VP here at the JC, you all recall we experienced a very difficult time with the Tubbs fires. Many of our students and many of our employees lost everything. It was really a time of crisis for our community. Frank did an amazing job at leading us through that crisis and the recovery efforts with a lot of kindness and compassion. a very Sonoma way, which I've learned to incorporate into my style as well. To date, that has been one of the most challenging moments in my professional career, but it's also one of my proudest moments because I think we did a great job at supporting our students in our community in a time of need, and that was thanks to Frank's leadership. After that, I think the JC became a much tighter community, and that was thanks to Frank's ability to lead us and bring us together. So I quickly realized that we were all very fortunate to have this opportunity to work with Dr. Chong and learn from such an experienced leader. Prior to SRJC, Dr. Chong served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Community Colleges at the U.S. Department of Education, helping shape President Obama's community college agenda. That's where he was coming from. Prior to that, he served in 3 different districts. He was the president at Laney College, president of Mission College, and dean of student affairs at San Francisco City College. So we had a tremendous leader with lots of experience, and I think he was able to pull from those experiences and lead us in many different ways. And prior to that, he served as special assistant to Willie Brown, former Speaker of the California Assembly. And I think that's where Frank gets his political chops and community connections. During his time at the JC, he led the college through many, many different achievements, including the successful passage of Measure H, a $410 million bond, and still to this day, the largest bond passed by voters in Sonoma County. Just a tremendous accomplishment. As a president now, trying to get a bond passed, I have a total different level of respect for that kind of work. It's just tremendous work. That bond made possible the renovation of this theater, the construction of new buildings like the STEM Center, and modernizing different buildings on campus. Also, it made possible the purchase and construction of the SRJC Roseland campus, improving services for the predominantly Latinx community of Roseland. Also, under his leadership, the SRJC Foundation raised an impressive $77 million, making it making the foundation's endowment the second largest endowment in the state for California community colleges. Again, very impressive. So I'm currently trying to build my foundation, and I just have a total appreciation, and I'm trying to implement the model that you have here in my community. And so just know that you have an amazing foundation. You're very lucky. He also helped lead the successful passage of Measure O, which helped increase health services in Sonoma County and provided significant funding to scale up SRJC's mental health services. And we all know, that is a very important service for our community. And the last accomplishment that I like to share is the construction of student housing on this campus, which opened last year and is currently providing affordable housing to more than 300 students on this campus. Pretty amazing. So these are just some of his accomplishments. But Frank always led with his heart, and he was always a champion for our students. But even with these impressive accomplishments, what impresses me the most is his commitment to mentoring students and first-generation professionals to help them accomplish their goals. People like Jordan Carvajal, an immigrant student who faced many adversities, and with his support and guidance, Jordan graduated from the JC, transferred to UC Davis, and he currently works as a legislative aide at the California Assembly. And so, that's impressive. I went to Speaker Rivas' installation. I was at the special party. I was at the bottom floor with all the regular people. Jordan was up there in the VIP. And so that just tells you the kind of impact Frank has on people. And then people like me, first-generation professionals, who don't have, we don't have people in our family that we can turn to for advice. Frank became that person. And it's just not me. There are many people like me across the state that look to Frank for advice. And thanks to Frank, you know, what he did for me, he helped me become president at Gavilan College, thanks to his mentorship and advice. And for me, that is very special because I grew up in that community, and to be back and be president, and believe me, I'm borrowing a lot from the JC, because you do have an excellent college here. You're a model. Frank, the JC, and Dr. Garcia, all of you are a model for the rest of the state. So in closing, I just want to say that the JC and Sonoma County were blessed to have Frank serve as their president for 11 years. And now you're very fortunate to have my colega, Dr. Angelica Garcia, somebody who I admire and I look up to as your new superintendent president. And I know she's already doing some great things. I love having this in this space, by the way. Good move, appreciate it. Frank, we love you. Thank you for everything you've done for the JC, for students in this community. And with that, please join me in welcoming Dr. Garcia and Dr. Frank Chong to the stage.
Aquí está. Okay. All right. This is all you, my friend. Here, let's come up here. Because people might want to take pictures.
Thank you. Wow. Pedro, you read the script that I sent you, almost word for word. Very good. I'm going to buy you dinner later. And something I've been wanting to do since the Olympics. Good afternoon, everybody. Really, really appreciate all of you for being here today. And it's kind of overwhelming. I've been away for a year now. And when I come back and see all the familiar faces, both on campus and people I worked with in the community, people I worked with in Washington, D.C., people I worked with in Sacramento, people I work with all over the country, it's really an honor to be here. And, but being an ex-president or emeritus is different than being the current president, because I was told, Frank, you have 7 minutes, and Angelica, you take as long as you damn well please. And that's okay, because that's a lot less work. But in preparing my remarks, I just thought of 3 words. One is pride. SRJC pride, when you go to the games, when you go to the movie productions, when you go to the art gallery, when I tour all my friends from the East Coast who come here and take them to the library, the Doyle Library, they all say, my God, I've never seen a community college campus so beautiful. And I take them to the Petaluma campus, and then I take them to Schoen Farm. I said, how many presidents have their own winery, their own culinary restaurant, right? Their own farm. You know, we even have cannabis there. I mean, not cannabis, what's that other thing we grow? But it's just really unique. And over the 11 years, I've just been blessed with the pride that I felt about SRJC. I did my best to try to maintain the traditions of this wonderful college in its 106 years, but also usher in the changes to look at the changing demographic of Sonoma County, the North Bay. And we did it together, and it's we, right? There's no I in team. So it was about us working together, and I really feel so blessed to have the opportunity to have spent time working in the community, and I really, really appreciate, first of all, the board who hired me, and they also can fire you, you know? So they went through some rough patches with me, but they stood by me, and that's why I'm only the 5th president, and I look forward to hanging this medal or have somebody hang it on the next speaker. So I really believe that we have a great thing here. There's some what I call pixie dust. I call it the magic that happens at SRJC. But it's not, it's like our democracy. We can't take it for granted. We have to get up every day and say, what can we do to make our community stronger and better? And I really believe, as President Shaban said, is that I believe education is the preservation of democracy. Education is the preservation of our democracy. The more educated people we have, thank you, they will be able to make their own choices, acquire critical thinking skills, and be able to go out there and lead the next generation. That's why I'm so excited that the SGA is here, because they're the future. And I really admire you for taking leadership at a time when a lot of people are shunning it. And for all you elected officials I've had a chance to work with, and aspiring elected officials, do it. Go out there and do it, because JC's worth fighting for. And so I'll just close with one of my favorite quotes, and that's, ask where man's greatness begins and ends, and tell the mine was I had such friends. Thank you.
Stay right here, we're not done. All right. As part of this presentation for the President's Medallion, we continue with the tradition. And so in addition, as the Superintendent President Emeritus of Santa Rosa Junior College, Frank's legacy will be memorialized with a portrait, which will be displayed on the 4th floor of Doyle Library. It will join the portraits of the 4 superintendent presidents who preceded Frank's tenure. We'd like to extend a warm thank you to our colleagues at the SRJC Foundation for your support in commissioning this incredible portrait. Before we reveal it, I want to share that the portraitist, Sean Cheatham, Sean, thank you, right here, studied at the College of San Mateo, California, and earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree with honors from the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, California. His paintings have been included in numerous significant exhibitions internationally, including the National Portrait Gallery in London. California community colleges sure do know how to train and educate brilliance. He has a devoted following of collectors and art students who are inspired by his work and distinctive technique. Primarily a figurative painter, Sean is known for his technical prowess in achieving accuracy and harmony in his alla prima paintings. He credits this to a deep understanding of drawing and developing his own system of mixing colors, which he uses adeptly to govern shadows, midtones, and highlights. I will buy anyone a drink who actually knows what that means. In addition to having an exceptional ability to understand, draw, and paint the human form, Sean's selection of subjects in familiar urban scenes contributes a truthful and often raw spirit that makes his work distinctive and a contemporary testimony of our time. Pedro Avila is going to join me, my colega here, in unveiling Dr. Frank Chong, Superintendent President Emeritus of Santa Rosa Junior College's portrait, which will join
It looks like me. Great job, Sean. Really appreciate it. And in retirement, you forget things, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention the most important person in my life who supports me every day, my lovely wife, the First Lady, Lena Janis.
Okay.
I know. I don't want to sleep on the couch tonight. She always shows me humility. I come home and she would say, "Okay, Mr. President, take out the garbage." Thank you.
Look, we need to stay humble. At this point in time, I would like to invite, I have the distinct honor to introduce and invite Representative Mike Thompson from California's 4th Congressional District for a special presentation for Dr. Chong.
Dr. Garcia, thank you very, very much. And congratulations for a fantastic start to what I know will be a successful and long career. Thank you. I'm going to use the handheld mic because the script that Frank wrote for me is over at the podium. How you doing?
Good.
First, I got a couple things to say about you, and it may be a roast.
Oh, oh.
But first, I just want to say congratulations and thank you to Santa Rosa Junior College. This is just an incredible institution of higher education. It is, in fact, the epitome of all the campuses across the state of California. You do a wonderful job. Yeah, please give it up. And there's a community that is the reason that it is so great. And that community starts certainly with the staff and the faculty here at the college, but also the trustees, both current, past, and future. Folks really put their heart into it, and they devote a lot of time and a lot of energy because they know, notwithstanding the 300 new beautiful student housing facility, notwithstanding the renovations here, all of the campus improvements, that is most certainly an investment in the campus, in the community, and in the students, but it is in fact a direct investment in our greater community. The work that's done here to educate the students spills out into the community every day, and we are better off for it. You don't raise $10 million a year for a scholarship fund because the institution is failing to address the needs of the community. That's what community colleges are all about, addressing the local needs and making sure the educational opportunities are here to educate the new leaders to come out into the community and make sure that it happens. And I hear it every day. As a matter of fact, I hear it mostly in the ag space because of that great farm that you talked about, Frank. And just today, meeting with one of the local hospitals, talking about how fantastic the healthcare workers that come from Santa Rosa Junior College over to the hospital, how just wonderful they are and what a great service they provide for the community. So, as I say, it doesn't happen by itself. It takes a big community to make it happen. So thank you all very much. And Frank, thank you very much for your 11 years here. You're a longtime friend. Long before you got here, we were friends. We worked together in the legislative arena. But I enjoyed my time working with you so much, and your accomplishments are long. And the previous speaker outlined them all, so I'm going to just skip over the notes that you gave me and just say thank you. And as most people know, one of the things that members of Congress get to do when there's somebody who's fabulous in the community, you can go into the well and you can read words into the congressional record. Well, Frank's got about 17 of those from me over the year, so we didn't think you needed another one. But I thought what might be nice is to give you something else. And this is a flag that was flown over the United States Capitol in your name to thank you for your service here at the community and for... Thank you, Mike. You bet. Wow. And for your recognition tonight. So, Frank, thank you. I know you'll still be involved in the community, and I'm glad you were here and did everything you did, and I'm really glad we're friends. Thank you. Thank you. Who's that? That says it flew.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Let's give our colleague and friend and neighbor, Frank Chong, another round of applause, please. So, oh, look, like trigger happy over here, sorry. What a beautiful sight it is to be here, to see all of you, some of you whom I've had the pleasure of getting to know very closely over the past year, some who I trust we're going to continue to get to know one another. And for those that are joining us via the stream, I'm glad that you're joining us in this capacity. Excellence and belonging. You've heard so much already from previous speakers of just how proud we are to be a part of this community, just how proud we are to know that we are in this space together. And before I go into sharing my remarks, turns out that when you give an educator a prompt and you say, reflect back on the past year and share your thoughts, I have some thoughts I want to share. But before I do that, I really want to take a moment to acknowledge the work, the sheer work and commitment that goes into providing this kind of event. And I would be remiss if I did not thank Jay Molyneux and the team in the foundation, Katie, who I'm sure is running around somewhere. Let's please give a round of applause to our colleagues who took the challenge quite beautifully of what could it look like? What could the President's Address look like if we dared to imagine for it to look differently? So thank you for taking that on. For much of what you're going to see here, it takes the brilliance and the expertise of my colleagues in the Institutional Effectiveness Research and Planning Office, in the Marketing and Communications Office, the Office of the President. I like to say it takes a lot of people to help us look good when we are bragging about our college. But I also want to acknowledge two folks, my colleagues. So Sarah Pugh, who is our new Senior Director of Marketing, Communications, and Public Affairs. I think she's now officially maybe 5 weeks in. We're happy to have her. And many of you already know colleague and friend Zara Sonkenar, Executive Officer to the President and the Board of Trustees. Please give them a round of applause. And lastly, but definitely not last, actually, the President's Cabinet. I get the privilege of engaging with folks on a regular basis. These are the individuals that make it their business to know all of the deep parts of our college. And again, much of what I'm going to share here, as Frank shared earlier, it's a we. It takes an entire group of people to make that happen. And so I want to use this personal point of privilege to acknowledge Vice President of Business and Administrative Services, Kate Jolly. She hates attention. Sitting next to her is Vice President of Student Services, Dr. Molly Senecal. Vice President of Academic Affairs up there, I don't know who you pissed off, but there you go, Robert Holcomb. And I'm trying to see if a colleague, Interim Vice President of Human Resources, Teresa Richmond, who might actually be back at the office because we have some work that we're doing. Incredibly grateful. Also, Dr. Jeremy Smotherman, Senior Director of Institutional Effectiveness Research and Planning. And I already introduced her, but I have no idea where she is. Sarah Pugh, Senior Director. There we go. Oh, right next to Jeremy. Okay. So, I always like to begin with grounding who it is that's standing here before you. And that picture on your left is me. I think I look so cute. This is one of my favorite pictures. And this morning, or maybe it was last night, we were sitting around the dining room table, and I asked my mom, I was like, Ma, where was this picture taken? Because in my head, it was wrapped up in a story of experiences of our family escaping the really brutal heat of the Central Valley of Fresno, California, and going out to Pismo Beach. So for years, I thought that this was at Pismo Beach. And my mom and my sister last night were like, no, that was Pine Flat Dam when we used to go camping. So I'm feeling this sense of what it means. And then I realized it doesn't matter where it is that picture is, because the essence of it is that this is my grandmother, Maria Soto Cabrera, who would have celebrated her 110th birthday on August 30th. And that person right there is my mom. That's Angelina Garcia Cabrera. And so she's working on food and lunch. And notice my grandma, this is like the epitome of like quality control. Like she is definitely telling my mom that she's doing something wrong and then correcting it, right? Because once you know better, you do better. And then me, I don't even know who took this picture, but I feel like sneakers then, sneakers now, some things never change. And I put these two pictures next to each other because the story of the journey of me at this age getting to experience joining this community is a story that's really similar to a lot of our students. And it's a story that's really similar to maybe a lot of you. Maybe our skin color looks different. Maybe our sex or gender is different. But that story of coming from an incredibly strong fabric of family and community is something that can resonate with so many of us. And so what is not written here is that I identify as second generation born here in the United States. I identify as Latina, and in the Central Valley, especially Chicana, which that has a political and racial and ethnic identity. I am third of 4 siblings. My oldest sister is here in the house as well. I was, in many cases, that kid who was stayed enough out of trouble, self-sufficient to an extent, but then I also caused a lot of trouble, is what I learned. My sister and I went on a long walk this morning, and she was reminding me of how my mom would tell her, because in Fresno where we lived, you could walk to the downtown area when it was still thriving. And my mom would tell my sister that I was supposed to stay home. But she wouldn't listen, right? She wouldn't listen, so she'd dress me up, we'd go, and there's this one story where I ended up going to the hospital 3 times in one day. But that's a story for another time. But I'm just letting you know kind of the vibe to it. And the piece that is really resonating with me and that I'm feeling like I wanna start today with is, I know what it's like when you're not sure if your family's gonna be able to make rent that month. I know what it's like when you're not sure if there's enough food, but we always say there's always room for one more, so we're gonna figure it out. I know what it's like to see my mom work multiple jobs to try to provide and do more for us. And now I'm getting to see, I know what it's like to have your entire people that you love and care, that you would do anything for, right? I have this profound respect for that, because it is because of the sacrifices that folks make for us that many of us here get to sit in the seats that we are in today, because of the sacrifices that folks who love us and care about us do. And so I just want to take this moment and acknowledge that if it were not for my mom, if it were not for my sister, if it were not for my wife, if it were not for my daughters, for my family and friends, I'm not able to be here. And so that is important for me, that you know that, because to my core, I'm like, I feel like walks in with me all of these identities. And I realized, thank you. And I realize that change can look very different. I don't know that this stage ever saw burning sage before last fall. But that is part of evolving. That is part of just kind of moving with where our community is. And so here's the thing, that it doesn't matter though. Santa Rosa Junior College for 106 years has been an amazing legacy. So regardless of the person that gets to hold this mic or gets to wear and bite that metal, this community makes sure that we are all about our mission, vision, and our values. And our Board of Trustees several years ago embarked in the very hard work of ensuring that we were revising and trying to pay attention to, and what is it? What is our promise to the community? So to my trustees, As Frank said earlier, I like to say I serve at the pleasure of the board, but truly it is my greatest honor to be in this work with you, to ensure that we deliver to Santa Rosa Junior College, to this community, the kind of education that we deserve to have. And so we have to know about our community then. And so what I'm going to share is just a slice of different things. This is not going to be unfamiliar to many folks in this room. There are some of you in this room that likely were part of authoring this, helping ask questions about it, making sure that after the 2014, hey, we missed some communities. And so let's go back. So the Portrait of Sonoma County is one of our data resources that gathers and says what's happening in our community. And the Human Development Index is capturing the ways in which healthcare, education, and earnings contribute to an individual's ability to thrive in our community. And if you've not had a chance to read this, please take some time to do it. It's rather fascinating, and as someone who is new into the community, I couldn't get my hands on enough things to try to understand, okay, what neighborhood am I moving into here? But here's what I want to share. I'm just going to pull two data points out. And the one on the top left is talking about the education index, and the way we talk about it is access to knowledge. And when you look at the data, it shows that in our county, we have some inequities in terms of some folks in our own community that are getting access to education, to knowledge. And so while we have some great accomplishments that are happening, I pay attention and look at, well, who is not quite there yet? And what do we know about that? And what is our role as an institution of higher education in this community? And we're not the only one. I see colleagues from Sonoma State University who are also in there. There are so many of us that are trying to address how do we provide access to education. And so Santa Rosa Junior College, as a community college, we can serve as the pathway for the very folks who need somewhere to go. And where I shared, I identified as Latina, so for me, this is not a random cartoon stick figure. I'm imagining my great-nephew, Marcus, my great-niece, Crystal, right? For me, I'm imagining people that I love, that I care about, that might be represented here, or here, in any one of these spaces. The other metric is median personal earnings. And again, this is just showing a snapshot of what's happening in our community. And so we start to pay attention here. Okay, so what's going on? And then I think, well, SRJC, we have an amazing career technical education program, CE program. We have amazing transfer pathways. And how can we start to really communicate that these pathways are the way to grow, to be able to increase personal earnings? And for me, I talk a lot about wanting to disrupt generational poverty. If we are going to make a difference in our county and our community, the big question that we should all be asking ourselves is, what are we going to do to disrupt generational poverty? And so I want to share one example that's happening in our community. In the southwest part of Santa Rosa, Roseland. So the image that you have right here is the index in the Portrait of Sonoma County. And in this one excerpt, it really shows how our neighbors, our friends in Roseland community, life expectancy is a little bit shorter. Education index, there's a huge gap when compared to East Bennett Valley. And for folks who are not living in this immediate area, that's all of like, I think 6 miles, maybe 7 miles. And then the median earnings. Now, I share this because I don't feel like we should need to feel ashamed or feel bad or feel embarrassed. This is data. This is information for us to say, okay, well, what is our part with this? And so Santa Rosa Junior College is not the only community partner that's saying we need to do something different in Roseland, right? So I think just last month or earlier in the summer, there was the groundbreaking for the housing units that are being developed. We have the library doing some amazing work to create a space that's about placemaking, that says the library of the future looks different so that children and teenagers and all folks can go. Transportation. And Santa Rosa, so Pedro earlier was talking about SRJC Roseland. So in 2021, the district, the leadership said, okay, we're gonna buy this land and we're gonna say this is a part of SRJC making a claim and saying we care about this community, we are a part of this community. And so with Measure H, we've been able to, this is still the pretty little drawing. I wish I would have gotten where we are now. But phase 1 has been completed, and we're starting now to renovate an existing Heritage Hall and building a Student Success Center. And so what this says to our community is we have a commitment. That is an access, primarily right now to non-credit courses, but then those lead to credit courses. And that we are part of this bridge, we cannot do it alone. Santa Rosa Junior College cannot do it alone. The library cannot do it alone. Folks who are fighting for housing cannot do it alone. Folks who are giving of their resources and time cannot do it alone. But if we all say that this is not okay, we can do that together. We can do that together. And so this is one example. There are many more from throughout our county. And so when I think of where it is that we're going in the future, right? When I think of, okay, well, what do we know about our county population? So we're looking out to 2029 because we are right now working on our district strategic plan that goes through 2028. And so we're looking at what's happening. What are really smart people telling us about what's happening in our community? And so you can see from 2020 to 2029, we're gonna see a decline of 2% of our overall population. And I know it looks really drastic here. I swear that looks like it's 30%. It's just 2%. But nonetheless, we have some decline going on. And we're learning that every year there's over 20,000 people that leave our county, and every year there's over 20,000 people that come into our county, but the who's leaving and who's coming look different. And it's often around, were folks able to afford to stay in this community, to get educated and work here and raise their families. And some yes, some no. You know, sometimes that great opportunity presents itself, and so you're gonna move your family, or you're gonna be attentive to that. We have our understanding who lives in our community. So we pay attention a lot in looking at disaggregated data because, again, the JC has to ask the question, do we have a proportionate representation of students at the JC that mirrors our county? So this is just providing some data on our county demographics. And I will share that this is one of the things that I pay attention to, and I think I'm gonna share a little bit later in a slide, but our Black African American population in this county is not very large. So when the JC has 3% of our student population identifying as Black and African American, that means that we have an amazing opportunity to contribute and impact the lives, right? We take that very seriously in the work that we do. We look at what's happening in high school. So look, we have a new high schooler in our house. And I'm reminded yet again about how much my wife and I don't know anything about life. We don't know anything about homework. We don't know anything about the social pressures. And there's some truth to that, because I will tell you is that young people of this generation are experiencing school in a much different way. It is incredibly public. And because of the kind of coming back from COVID pandemic, I feel like in a lot of ways, a lot of young people are trying to remember their manners. And maybe it's not just young people, it might be some of us as well, but I digress. We're looking at our high school population, and so this is where, connecting with Dr. Carter, our colleague who's superintendent of Sonoma County Office of Education, is really looking at, paying attention to what our K through 12 colleagues are doing, because they are also addressing what's happening in terms of a decline in high school population. We start to see that by 2930 we'll have 19% less high school students and 16% less K through 8. And so the reason that I'm sharing the data this way is because a lot of times institutions of higher education will say, we just have to go out and get new students. And the picture that I'm trying to paint is it's not necessarily new students. How are we serving the students that are in our county now of all age demographics? Earlier, I shared that the population trend for the county looked a little different. Look at our high school. It's predominantly Latinx students that are in our schools, right? And you're going to see how that then reflects. Don't be afraid by this slide. I'm going to just give you a quick shortcut here. So this is showing head count over time by age. The bar at the bottom, students who are 19 years older or younger. The top bar, students who are 50 years old or younger. And so you start to see that as an institution of higher education, as a partner in this community, we also have to pay attention to what's happening in our political climate, our sociocultural climate, our economic climate, and most recently, having gone through a health pandemic, a global health pandemic. So what you start to see is when we are experiencing economic recession and budget cuts, we start to see a dip in enrollment. That happened over 2 times. When legislation, I really do love our colleagues in Sacramento, but sometimes I wish they wouldn't, but that's okay. Very lovingly, but here's what I mean. So I just want to break this down on why course repeatability, a piece of legislation, was incredibly good, but the impact that it had in our community, especially with this age demographic. So course repeatability came into play around 2012-13, I think it was. And it was looking at the number of times that students were repeating courses over and over and over again. And the legislator looked at the data and said, we have got to do better because students were getting trapped in these sequence of courses. And they would take it over and over and over again and never advance. So then the legislature said, okay, you get 3 shots to take a course and then you can't repeat it. And that was supposed to incentivize that as institutions, what are we going to do different about our teaching to make sure that students complete, right? So that was the intention. Well, for a community like ours, where lifelong learning is something that folks really care about, right? You want to take Pilates for 6 semesters in a row. You want to take the how to write your own autobiography for 5 semesters in a row. We have a lot of learners in our community that want to experience that. And so course repeatability impacted it in such a way where students couldn't enroll in that. And so that is one of those unintended consequences of happening when you do something to address one issue and how it might impact us in a different way. At the college that I was at during this time, we didn't see that because our population was primarily 19 to 24-year-olds. So the course repeatability didn't impact that district as much as the data is showing here. It's just a data point, right? It's just trying to paint the picture for what are the things that impact our college. And then I just feel like this one, I don't have words. It's a pandemic. Okay. But regardless over time, so now I just want to give you this slice here, is that on average, 80% of our students at Santa Rosa Junior College are taking courses for credit. That means they're trying to get certificates, degrees, or they're trying to transfer. That's pretty consistent. And then we see our non-credit students, adult ed, and our lifelong learners. I like to show this because even when there's the ups and downs of overall enrollment, we are consistent, our students are consistent in taking credit courses. Now, the consistency and the stability is something that I think about a lot. And so in one of those areas, we think about, well, here's our county, and here are our trustee areas. In 2022, we did redistricting. And so now what we have is, in this upcoming election, Area 3, Rohnert Park, Cotati, and South Santa Rosa, is now a representation that will get the opportunity to elect a trustee to the Board of Trustees at Santa Rosa Junior College. And so with that, I like to share this because it's easy to forget how big our county is. It's easy to forget that what Trustee Shaban is seeing in Sonoma Valley has some similarities, but looks very different than what Trustee Valdovinos might be seeing out on the coast. And so I'm incredibly grateful. As Jay shared earlier, we have 2 trustees that are terming off, and I feel so lucky to have had the chance to work with Trustee Lindley, and I'm so grateful for your decades of service. Thank you so much. Also incredibly grateful because I know Trustee Bañuelos is a consummate public service agent. And so again, I also feel incredibly blessed that my first year I had the opportunity to work with you. We have our campuses and sites that have already been spoken to. So we have the Petaluma campus, Santa Rosa, SRJC Roseland, Public Safety Training Center, and then the farm. So that's again not common. And so I shared about the county, and it's but a slice, right? It's but a slice. And now I want to share about our students. So what you see here is looking now just at the last 3 years, and we're looking at full-time student enrollment with part-time student enrollment. The fact of the matter is that most students at Santa Rosa Junior College are enrolled part-time. We got busy lives. They are working for some of you in this room. They are contributing to the work that's happening across the county. And so students, this is the breakdown. And so we start to think that a lot of times we think about colleges mostly for full-time students because that is the kind of traditional story. But that's not the story for Santa Rosa Junior College students. They are going to school, going to work, caring for family, trying to figure out how to do all of those things. And so when we look at last year's student group, we see that we had just over 32,000 students that enrolled in Santa Rosa Junior College. They enrolled in almost 128,000 courses. 30% are first gen, first in their family to go to college, and again, primarily part-time students. And our biggest 2 demographic populations are white and Latino students. That is definitely something that is shifted. I think I just accidentally put the laser beam in someone's eye. I'm so sorry. Our Pell Grant recipients, Pell Grant is a proxy for students who meet multiple financial aid needs. And so what you see is our 2 largest student populations, again, of white students and Latino students, represent the students who have the most need. And in your annual reports, I think this is on page 16 and 17 on the bottom, is where we're sharing a little bit. So we're sharing about what happened last year. So look, last year, over 2,000 associate degrees were awarded. More than 110 majors and 170 certificates offered to students. Over 2,000 certificates. 80% of students who transferred of transfer students were accepted to the University of California. Incredibly competitive system. That's testament to the quality of education and the experience that happens here. And over 1,400 students transferred after graduation. And the thing to point out is that students don't do this on their own, right? Behind this are the faculty who write the curriculum for the programs. Behind this are our workforce and industry partners who provide advice. When I think of I've been bragging about the auto department. I might need to pick another one, but they wrote like over 22 courses and redid the curriculum to train students for the cars of today. And that's because faculty work with industry partners to make sure, whether it's welding or nursing or dental, they connect with you all to make sure that we are training students for what they need. And so what we have is, in this year long, like, okay, well, what are we going to do now? What does this look like? And so for this upcoming year, we've been talking about 4 institutional priorities. I mean, at some point, you just have to say, these are the things that are the most important for us to work on. and it allows for all of us to come around these areas. So the first is our work around inclusion, diversity, and equity. Our student success, so it's both about enrollment recovery and growth, our fiscal sustainability, and our institutional effectiveness. Now, I shared some demographics of what's happening with the students. I shared my story about all of my intersecting identities. And the fact is that the JC, we have to pay attention to that because our mission says that we are to serve a diverse community throughout the county. So that means we have to know who is in our county. We have to look at the data, and we have some equity gaps in terms of who is successfully completing courses and completing programs at the end. And a lot of the work that we are doing on an institutional level is how do we create a culture where you are included and you belong, not just tolerated. But we see you, you belong, you are here. And I love that the students are here. I had the chance to hang out with them out at Poly Hall. And here's what I love about figuring out inclusivity and belonging. So SGA President Ruben Garcia has brought disc golf to the campus. For those of you who don't know what disc golf is, right, it's like Frisbee in a net, and you're playing a course. So this has happened, and he's put it in the middle of the quad, and students are engaging. And we had a friendly little game to which he did beat me at that one because I was learning, what I was doing. And then we played Connect 4, and then I won. But my secret weapon is that I have a 9-year-old, so I have a lot of time to practice with games like that. But it's those kinds of small things that start to make a difference. How is it that we can connect, not just in the classroom, but throughout as a community? And so we're doing some deep work in this area. Like many of you in your organizations, we are doing some deep, hard work around this. It is hard to talk about privilege. It's hard to want to let go of something that's yours. But the fact is that our county and our community is counting on us to figure out how to keep space for everybody and make space. This was at Pride this past year. We had a very large contingency of folks that attended, and I saw many of you out in the community. There are some very strategic things that happen when you put a bunch of educators in the room, right? And they're like, what do we need to do here? And I'm grateful for that because for the greater part of a year, there's been a team of faculty, staff, administrators who've been meeting and really identifying where are the areas that we need to provide a level of growth. And so I think of, Dr. Robert Holcomb has been leading that group for the past year. And there are 7 areas that we're working on, but I'm gonna focus on these 3 just as sharing points. So the first is dual enrollment. How many of you in this room have a high schooler in your life? Okay. Or at one point in your life you had a high schooler. How about that? Okay. Phew, thank you. All right. Well, one of the things about us, what SRJC as a community college, is the way that we get into relationship with our K through 12 districts. So right now we are doing some aggressive work. When I think of last week being in a meeting with superintendents, and I learned that the superintendent from Sonoma West, is it West County Sonoma School District? His name is Chris Meredith. He's an alumnus of SRJC. Taught here. He's now a teacher. He's the superintendent over there. And we have dual enrollment courses at Annalee High School, Pathway for Ag Business and a Pathway for Plant Science. Up in the north part of the county, we have courses that are going towards allied health pathways. So we are trying to be good partners with our high school colleagues so that students in high school can start getting college credit, access to college credit to just accelerate what is possible for them. That is something that's huge. I'll tell you, coming from the East Bay, Santa Rosa Junior College, there's a lot of time, like we're the only game in town when it comes to the community college part, so we can make it work. I'm coming from a district where there were so many community colleges, it was hard to pinpoint that relationship. And so we have a unique opportunity here to make it easier for students and our families. We have work-based learning, and I think of a student, I think his name is Logan Spencer, who is at Casa Grande High School, and as part of dual enrollment, enrolled in a class, got exposed to work-based learning, has continued taking those courses, and he's now a second-year student here, and because of that, he is working and getting credit while he's working and learning a skill set, and so his employers want to promote him to a higher position, and maybe, I want to say thankfully, he's saying not yet, because I want to finish my degree, and then be able to jump into that opportunity. Yes, thank you, that was big. We're happy that he wants to finish his degree. And then I think of non-credit, and here's where I have this amazing, we have a now colleague, used to be student, Maria Conchis Randazzo. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to know her. She started, yes, her journey at Santa Rosa Junior College taking ESL courses at Roseland. And she took the entire sequence of ESL courses, got into the 4 credit, graduated last year with 3 associate's degree, and is now at Sonoma State University pursuing her sociology degree. Yes. Look, and because she's so committed to this community, part of her job is still working with us here, and she is an STNC for EOPS, which supports first-generation low-income college students. So you have someone who's giving that back. And that is part of our strategic enrollment, like how are we supporting students? But it's not just about, oh, let's get students here. How do we help them succeed? How do we help them get to the next part of their journey? So we look at some data. Our average is good. Our part-time students, we have still a little bit of a gap there. Our full-time students far exceed it, so we have a 90% successful course completion rate by full-time students. Our district average is 77. We have brilliant, hardworking students here. We have brilliant, hardworking faculty and staff and administrators, and it's the combination of all of that that allows for SRJC to continue to be the excellent institution that we are. The piece here is we keep growing in terms of the certificates, associate degrees, and associate degrees for transfer. We are definitely known as an institution that prepares students for transfer. We just had the transfer fair on campus yesterday, and the UC Davis representative said, we love coming here because we know whatever students we get from the JC, they're gonna set the model for everyone else. And then I realized that we had someone a rep from Columbia University, and I was like, how did you end up here in Sonoma County? I'm glad to have you, but how did that happen? New York and Sonoma County are not the same. Well, we hear that there are really good students. We keep track of what the UCs are doing and what students are going to them, right? So we are definitely connected, and of course our colleagues at Sonoma State get the biggest table up front and center because they are a part of our community and they show up for students. And so when we talk about fiscal sustainability, those of you who know business and money, you're thinking, okay, it's all about the bottom line. How do we make sure we're not in the red at the end? That's an important part, but in the work that we do, fiscal sustainability means that we are helping students to enroll, we are helping them to complete their courses, and they are persisting term over term. So our fiscal sustainability is not about the dollars and cents, it's about making sure that the students, and I'm looking at our SGA folks right there, that they are completing their programs in the time and manner in which they need it to be for their lives. That is a different way to think about fiscal sustainability, right? And the reason we need to think about it differently is because our funding formula is challenging us to think about it differently. So 70% of our funding does come from enrollment, full-time equivalent students. 20% supplemental metrics. So these are the ways students that might be first gen, students in terms of how they're, if they're Pell eligible, and then 10% on success metrics. So we have to pay attention to all the parts of a student's journey because that is where our allocation comes from. But for me, it's more because if students are successful, if they complete, then guess what? Their siblings want to come here, and their cousins, and their neighbors, and their children, and we continue to be that legacy. So here are some examples. Jay talked about the foundation and the amazing work that gets to happen right here. That's, I think, William. He's in your annual report. He's standing in front of Poly Hall. That did open this past year. I'm glad, Pedro, that you got to see it, and Frank, you've been a part of it. Because the foundation, the way this community shows up, we get to help launch the future. We get to help raise money to support students where they need it. We're always number 1 and number 2 for California Community College scholarship distribution. This past year we were number 1. I'm really excited for that. 85% of our students who apply for a scholarship receive support. The foundation manages over 700 scholarships. The Doyle Trust and the colleagues at the Doyle Trust do an amazing job of ensuring that the money that was intended from that continues to serve this community. And so much so that the Doyle Trust has now also expanded to support over $180,000 for students who need it for Poly Hall. So that helped us bridge that gap so that it did not have to be a financial drain on students. Also connected to this is the ways in which we think about, the foundation is in the process of going through its strategic plan. The college is in the process of going through its strategic plan. So we're asking ourselves the question, what are we going to be about? How do we want to be? So the foundation's doing excellent work to move to a community-centric funding philanthropy model. So how do we make sure that foundations are serving the needs of the community in a way that is necessary? At the college, we have our strategic plan and accreditation. And the 2 simplest ways to say this is our strategic plan becomes our North Star. It helps us understand when we are resource constrained, what we're going to focus on. And our accreditation is basically accountability, right? This makes sure that what we're saying we're doing, we're actually doing. And so some things that I just want to share, we have 4 strategic plan initiatives. This has been work that's been going on since 2023. So academic quality, student success and support, responsiveness to our community, and campus climate and culture. Those are the 4 big overarching goals. This year, we're getting into the work of how the heck are we going to do that? What are the action steps for that? Actually, I think I went a little too fast on that one, but that's okay. I'm not going back. Before I go to this, what I want to share is, because what the strategic plan is going to allow us to do is that the JC has been a whole lot of things for this community. It has been in different parts throughout the community. We shared about the expansion that we're doing at SRJC Roseland. In my first year, I heard a lot from community about what they were missing. And so I'm going to say it because I don't want you to think that I don't hear you when I'm in those listening sessions. I know that the community is missing summer repertoire theater, SRT. I know that that's something. I know that there's a concern that the planetarium used to provide light shows for young children in this county. I know that there are programs that were in existence maybe 20 years ago that are not here now. And I think that the valuable point to get from that is we can ask ourselves the question, okay, what can come back, what can continue, and what do we need to leave room for the future of what our county needs? And that is the rub point, if I'm being as candid as I can. And so strategic planning, a lot of people think it's boring, it's just a process, it's just words on paper. And for me, I use that as like, this is our promise to the community. This is what we're saying, that people that you care about come here can expect a quality education, a great experience, and that they're going to be able to move on to their next goal. And so we don't do that alone. And so we learned, we have measure A and measure H. And here's the point where, look, I need to come over here because I'm not getting these points wrong. Measure A and measure H combined is exactly what it looks like when a community says yes, right? And I'm almost there, just give me a moment. So measure A, we are gonna be fully repaying that by 2029. So Measure A was approved for $250 million. The JC has successfully and responsibly stewarded those funds to support what you are seeing throughout the county. And by 2029, that will be paid off, and Kate Jolly will be a very happy woman. As will the rest of us. In 2014, as Pedro shared, Measure H was approved at $410 million. And here's the piece. We are set for the construction program to mostly be finished, and we're expecting for that bond to be fully repaid by 2041. But here's what I want to share, and I'm going to read this verbatim because I'm not getting this wrong. Between the two measures, when SRJC had the opportunity to lower the rates on the bonds, we refunded series that had been previously issued. We did this in 2005, 2013, 2016, and 2019. And you know what even if you don't know what I meant by those 3 sentences, listen to this one. This resulted in savings to taxpayers to the amount of $28,733,229. What this lets you know is that folks here at the JC do not take lightly that when the community uses tax dollars to provide into the facilities, that we are being responsible about that. So when given the opportunity, this college said, no, we are not going to use that $28 million because we're giving that back to the very folks who said yes to us. That's a lot of money. So I want to give a round of applause to my previous colleagues who worked on that. And so here's some of the beautiful spaces. So the Lindley Center for STEM Education is one that is an amazing space. Students are taking up space everywhere. Faculty right now are wrestling and figuring out what kind of technology they need. It is a state-of-the-art educational facility. If you ever have a chance to come tour it, please do, because it is something that there are some 4-year universities throughout our state that do not have a building with the level of technology and presence. We have our Towser Gymnasium. Towser is getting a beautiful facelift, and so that's part of what's impacting our parking because we've got to take some stuff down. My favorite story from Towser is, you know, you're dealing with old buildings that when they take the roof off, they realize there was another roof there. And so you really, like by any means necessary, previous leadership said, oh, we're going to take care of this. And so we are excited because this houses kinesiology, athletics, and dance, our sports medicine program, adaptive PE. Our adaptive PE program is quite large. And a student success center. So we're excited for where that's going to come. I've already shared about SRJC Roseland. If you haven't been out to that site, I encourage you to go see it. We're a little crunch for space because they're still doing some renovations, so you can come by and visit, but there may not be a seat for you because it's for students and employees. But again, the renovation, the work that's happening out in that community, a lot of possibilities. Though not funded by Measure H, the Construction Training Center at the Petaluma campus, Pedro spoke about the fires of 2017. As a result of that, the JC, in partnership with Tipping Point and the Economic Development Board, received a FEMA grant from the Economic Development Administration that contributed to this building. We're having the ribbon cutting on October 11th. Classes are moving, they are full. I met 3 female students who are in the program right now, and they are, was that you that I met? Oh, I thought it was you. I'm like, you look like her. There were three female students, and they were excited at the chance of getting trained for a program that really was built with the desire to build back into this community. And so, coming here to the end, and there's like so many things that I wanted to share, but the piece here is, I just shared but a snippet, right? You didn't get to hear the way that our forensics team is winning national awards for the ways that students are showing up. You didn't hear about our athletics teams and the ways in which they have gone to state finals. I hadn't quite shared yet the fact some of our ushers that we had here were from the women's wrestling team. So the Intercollegiate Athletic Association moved women's wrestling from a club to an actual sport. And because of opportunity grants coming from the foundation, we were able to say, yes, we can have a women's wrestling team, because apparently that is really big in our county. Wouldn't have known that, right? But we get to move on things related to that. We have faculty that are publishing books and are getting awards and being recognized. We have classified professionals that every year are pursuing their own education, whether it's with us or sometimes at Sonoma State. We have just so much to be proud of. And when I look at those of you that are here today, we get to be proud of that because of the way that you show up for this county, for this community. And I cannot speak enough, like I'm even thinking of Senator Mike McGuire, pro tempore, right, who brought in $1.5 million so that we can get the fire tower expansion going. Because I think of a former alumnus, her name is Annalee Burlow, who was a graduate from our fire program, who's now a deputy chief for CAL FIRE, overseeing 12,000 people around fire preparedness operations. That's someone who was trained in our program, right? Someone who's trained in our program. And so I wish I could tell you stories about all of these students, and some of them you might know. And as I look at our SGA leaders, I'm telling you right now that these are going to be the folks that truly are going to lead the way for us to find solutions so that we really can disrupt generational poverty. Whether they're going to be an artist or an investment banker or a sociologist or an educator, that's where it's going to happen. And I'm so proud to be part of a community where students say yes, they want to come here, and they invite us to be a part of that journey. And the ways in which we find joy. So I find joy with students. I find joy working with my colleagues. I find joy connecting with folks that I haven't seen that are willing to throw cheers when I ask for them. But what I find joy in is that when we get out of the way and we ask students to take the lead, these are things that happen. So Roscoe is our, well actually before Roscoe, our mascot of the Bear Cubs was created by students. So we know that our founding mothers pulled together to bring Santa Rosa Junior College to this county. I love saying that because it was our founding mothers who brought us here. Affinity to Cal and Stanford, they said we're gonna be the Bear Cubs. Students said we need to name it, and so Roscoe was born. And now this year, this is what happened. So Roscoe is proud, strong, encouraging, and a leader. And that really represents what Santa Rosa Junior College does for our community. Those are the kind of people that come out when they're given the chance. When we say yes to them realizing their goals and their dreams, and I am so grateful to each and every one of you for being a part of that in whatever role you play. Whether it's loud and front and out center, or it's behind the scenes, we cannot do this alone. And because I'm an incredibly competitive person, I've committed that I have to be here one more year than Frank Chong. 10 more, yes. But I wanted to share all of this because I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it because my children are a part of this community, my wife and I are a part of this community, and we want to be a part of the interconnected fabric that those of you that have been third, fourth, fifth, sixth generation in this county. Thank you for being welcoming. Thank you for trusting, even if you don't fully understand maybe where it is that we're going. But thank you, because it's gonna take all of us so that we can have students go to exactly where they need to be in the next part of their lives. As we close this evening, we're gonna go out, and hopefully it's cooled down a little bit more. I was trying to keep you here a few more minutes in the air conditioning. But you're gonna hear a song in closing, and I'm just gonna share it now because then we're gonna mill around. And it's from Maná, which is a Latin American band, Maná. And the song, the title of the song is ¿Dónde jugarán los niños? Where will the children play? And it's a song that speaks to environmental sustainability. And so I think of our colleagues at Pepperwood and the many throughout the county that are really trying to say, what is it about our land and our community here? And so it's not just about where will our children play in terms of environmental sustainability, but it's where will our children play because they're gonna still be here, because they can afford to live here and work here, and own a home here and build a family here. And so with that, that song is gonna play. I'm gonna invite you to head on out and enjoy a wonderful social time. Take pictures with Frank's portrait, because he looks very young in that picture, and enjoy one another. Thank you to everyone for being here.